Jeremy here from Sports Marketing Machine. Super excited about today's episode. I sit down with Lee Nevis from the Stockton Cargo, a USL-W expansion team. Last year was his first year as president, founder of the team. They played and they sold out almost every single home game at a community college. Lee talks about how he was able to leverage getting TV coverage, what he was able to do to increase ticket sales, and a lot of other great takeaways related to building your fan base. Super excited about this episode. Hope you enjoy. Welcome to the Sports Marketing Machine podcast. I'm your host, Jeremy Nizer. Today, we are honored and blessed to have a founder of a sports team, Lee Neves, the founder and president of the United Soccer League Stockton Cargo. You just had your inaugural season. We're going to talk all about all the great things that you did, but just to get at a high level, talk about how many games did you have? How many sellouts did you have?
So we had 6 home games, 12 games total in the season, 6 home games. Great home record. We had 4 wins, 2 losses at home. Ended the season overall 7-5, 1 game out of playoffs. Really excited about that. And to me, a big reason why every game except our final one, and that was due to having to change the date for heat, health, weather concerns, was a sellout, is because when making our schedule, when we had our schedule meeting with all the other teams and we were setting our schedule, to me, it was very important to make our home games appointment viewing. You knew the day, you knew the time. So I made it a mission while setting our schedule that all our home games would be on a Saturday. And luckily, our home games are at San Joaquin Delta's soccer field. And San Joaquin Delta actually was like, hey, if you could have your games on Saturday, that'd be fantastic. That would make us very happy. So we were very fortunate in that regards. But if it was a home game, if it was a Stockton Cargo home game, it's going to happen on Saturday. It's going to happen at 1 p.m. And I think that really helped a lot, both with our own fans' home attendance and also away fans. They could plan around knowing that the game was going to be on a Saturday, which most people have free, going to be at 1 p.m., not too early, not too late. Really just, you wanted to find that sweet spot to make it as easy as possible for fans to come out and enjoy some excellent women's soccer.
Fantastic. So year one, inaugural season, you're playing on San Joaquin County Delta or San Joaquin Delta Community College campus. So not a tremendous amount of amenities. You don't have an enormous budget, and you sold out 5 out of your 6 games. You would have sold out the 6th had it not been 108 degrees outside, right?
Yeah, if we did not have to change,
Yep.
it originally was going to be Saturday, July 1st, 1 o'clock. We were going to do a 4th of July barbecue, all that fun stuff. Had to switch it because of the heat. It was going to be 108 at game time, and that's like in the air temperature. We play on a turf field, so multiply that. We had to switch it to Sunday at 10 in the morning, and even then we got 250 people in attendance. We had for Sunday at 10 o'clock in the morning, we had a good crowd.
Yeah, no doubt about that. So that just says a lot about the scrappiness and the underdog mentality here. You don't have a big budget. You don't have a lot of staff. You probably don't have ticket sellers, but you were still able, between marketing, PR, and some of the things that we're talking about today, to sell out most of your games, all but one this year, on a campus that's like facility wise, it's not the most, like, doesn't have a lot of amenities. So this is super exciting, and a lot of excitement around the United Soccer League and women's soccer. So let's back up a little bit before we dig into tactics and all the things that you did. Uh, you founded the team. You're the person who went to the league and said, "Hey, I'd like to create a team here in Stockton, California." Talk about that process. Why did you found this team? Where did you come up with the name? And kind of what's the mission here?
My ex-wife likes to call it my midlife crisis. But so basically, this goes back to 2021. So July 2021, my liver decided to have a catastrophic failure, as you know, Jeremy. I basically was on death's doorstep. And when that happens, when you're sitting there waiting for a liver to come to be transplanted into you so you can continue to live, you do a lot of thinking, and you think, what are you going to be remembered for? And Jeremy, as you know, my day job, my main occupation, what lets me pay for the soccer is politics. I have my own political consulting firm,
Hmm.
very good at it, very successful at it. And on my team tombstone, literally it would read, "Here lies Lee Nevis, really good at politics. He got paid to be a jerk every 2 years." That would be my epitaph, and I kind of didn't want that to be what I was remembered for. I wanted to do something greater. Stockton is a great city. It's a great town. It's got a lot of wonderful people, and it always gets a bad rap. And I really want to do something positive for the city of Stockton. And as the wheels in my brain turned, um, I always really enjoyed working with female candidates, because the ego just went out the window. They just cared about results, they cared about winning, and they would do whatever it took to make that happen. Best candidates to work with. And I look, I am first generation Portuguese. Mom and dad came over from the old country. I was born with a soccer ball in my crib. And so around this time, while all these thoughts are swirling in my head, USL announced that they were going to start the W League in 2022. And I was like, hey, you know, look at that. And I reached out to a few people who did not know my condition, by the way. I kept my condition, what was happening to me, very, very top secret. Um, Jordan Farrell, who we both know, obviously, with the Oakland Roots, was one I reached
Hmm.
out to. Matt Gow, who currently is the executive director of a really great club back in Kansas City, Missouri, Toka FC, also reached out to and said, "Hey guys, here's this crazy harebrained idea I had," and they both thought it was fantastic. They both said, "Hey Lee, you should go for it. Stockton would be great for this." My thought in creating a women's club here in Stockton is, especially youth soccer, in America, is really pay to play. And for those in the soccer space, that's a sore point, because if you look at all these other nations that are just top of the line, France, Brazil, Portugal, England, Germany, the pay to play system for youth soccer is not there. If you are good enough, you will be found. You'll go into academy, and you will go on to startup. The David Beckhams, the Ronaldos of the world, the Messis of the world in Argentina, their parents didn't have to fork over $100 for a tryout. They were good enough, and they were found, and they were kind of nurtured through. That's not the case in America. And in Stockton, you have so much talent, but Stockton is Stockton. It's a very blue collar city. A lot of families are under the median average income for the state of California, and they're worried about keeping a roof over their head, putting food on the table. They're living paycheck to paycheck. So here you have these incredibly talented women in the soccer space that maybe don't have the opportunity to be seen on a much larger platform because of the pay to play nature of soccer in America. And so my thought was, I want to build a team that is going to showcase the talent of Stockton and the surrounding area. And also, at no point are they going to have to pay for anything. Tryouts were 100% free, uniforms were paid for, all that, all that. Practice supplies, all that fun stuff taken care of. You name it, socks, all that fun stuff. I did not want cost to be a hindrance for someone who had the ability to perform on this level. And USLW, it's a national league. It spans from coast to coast. So I bugged the people at USLW, just kept on sending them email after email after email, until finally they're like, okay, we'll talk to this guy. And they were like, hey, we're not going to start in California in 2022. But I, walked him through my vision, what I just explained to you, and the story behind it, and the business plan behind it, and they totally bought in. And of which case, I then told them, "Oh, by the way, I need a new liver." Kind of waiting for that, that small little addendum there. So they said, "Hey, look, we want you to be the flagship um, franchise in California. We want to announce you as the first one, but get a new liver first. As soon as you get that new liver, you let us know, so we know you're gonna live, and we'll announce you." So uh, St. Patrick's Day of all days, the irony. I get a new liver on America's national drinking holiday. But St. Patrick's Day 2022, I received my new liver at the University of Florida Shands Medical Center. Chomp chomp. Always a great day to be a Gator. And literally 4 days after, I you're in a coma for 2 days after. It's a 12-hour surgery. I was in a coma for 2 days after, and then 2 days after that, they finally let me have my phone. And one of the first emails I sent out was to the league saying, "Hey, I'm alive. Give me my team." Uh, so April 15th of 2022, we were announced as USL Stockton, and that's kind of how it all started. And it all started from my desire to bring something positive to Stockton, and do something to really uplift the some of the local talented women that we have that have originated from here in the surrounding area.
So you've got your team, they've given it to you. Your first step is coming up with a name and then building a marketing identity. Where did you start with that?
So, because Jeremy, as you know, I am absolutely shameless. The original name was going to be Sporting Club of Stockton, as an ode to my dad's favorite soccer team, Sporting Club of Lisbon.
Hmm.
And our colors and logo was just a straight ripoff of Sporting Club of Lisbon. Except theirs, they have a dragon in their logo, in their crest. We took the dragon out, put in a bunch of grapes because we are in the Lodi wine region. And the
Hmm.
league office, the league attorneys were like, "Yeah, we might have a copyright issue with that. You might get a nasty little
Hmm.
letter from overseas." Um, so there went that idea. Um, I still wanted to pay homage to, the fact that not only am I Portuguese, but so many people here in the Central Valley in San Joaquin County are of Portuguese descent. So myself, our copyright attorney, and the league attorney were all on a conference call, wrapping our heads, and I was thinking, we have the Port of Stockton in here. Um, and so automatically into my head, I popped Stockton Fleet because I don't know if you remember it, but the defunct American Alliance of American Football had a team in San Diego called the San Diego Fleet, and I really like that name, and I really like their uniforms and all that fun stuff. So I offered that up and gave my rationale. Hey, we have a port here, the Port of Stockton, the major employer in the city of Stockton, San Joaquin County, and it pays homage to that. And it was the copyright attorney who was like, I don't like fleet, but what kind of port is it? Does it bring the Love Boat in, or is it like an actual shipping cargo port?"
Hmm.
I'm like, "No, it's an industrial cargo port." And she's like, "Stockton Cargo Soccer Club, there you go." I was like, "Okay, that works."
That'll work. Yeah.
So yeah, that's how Stockton Cargo was born. We had the blue, obviously, to represent, pay homage to the port and the sea and the ocean that is um, so important to the Port of Stockton and the city of Stockton. And then green paid homage to my Portuguese background, Portuguese roots.
So you've got the logo. Now you got to put something behind it because the logo is not a brand. The logo is just a logo. So you start to develop the marketing identity. Who is the Stockton Cargo, and what was that process like? We'll get to video creation and kind of what you developed here, but a lot of it had to do with your mission, right?
Yep. Yeah, a lot of it had to do with my mission and the fact that the Stockton Cargo was going to be a team comprised of females from Stockton and the immediate vicinity. And I really wanted to buy in not only into my personality, but Stockton's personality. And that personality is a little brash, a little outspoken, and doesn't back down from anyone. That's how I wanted to create the identity for this team. It's like the old former coach of the Temple Owls, Don Chaney, play anyone, anywhere, anytime.
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of the attitude I wanted us to have. Is, look, we were going to be in a league with a lot of heavyweights. Cal Storm, Oakland Soul, who's connected to the Oakland roots of USL Championship. San Francisco Glens have been around for the longest time. We had some blue bloods in our league that really thought, there are teams that when they step on the field, and you'll see it overseas. I mean, if a team has to play Man United or Barcelona or Real Madrid, a lot of teams, as soon as they see them step on the field, they already lost. They just already lost because
Mm-hmm.
here you have these gigantics, these heavyweights. And in women's soccer, that's what we had here. Cal Storm is a legendary team. Brandy Chastain played on it. Alex Morgan played on it. One of their coaches was Cece, who was once the leading goal scorer in a Women's World Cup. Um, and that's all well and good, but I am firmly convinced in the talent we have in this area, and I firmly expected us to go in there and win. And we weren't
Mm-hmm.
going to back down from anyone. And that's how I wanted to brand this team. And a lot of it, especially at the very beginning, was me. I was the mouthpiece. I was the spokesperson,
Mm-hmm.
and really, branded my personality and the city of Stockton's personality into this team. Yeah, we're loudmouths. Yes, we talk our talk, but we're also going to walk our walk, and we weren't going to back down from anyone. And you saw that in our very first game of the season. Very first game of the season, Oakland Soul comes into town, and I would just like to say, Oakland Soul, first of all, their fans travel great for away games. They have a great traveling section, and their fans are fantastic. They were actually right next to my owner's tent. They were all right next to my tent in the standing room only section, and they were great. Loved them, absolutely loved them. Just a class organization, classy fans. Um, but they go up early on us, like 2-0 or something like that, and we end up clawing back, and we lost the game 3-2. Almost score the tying goal. We were like literally that far away from scoring the tying goal, but I guarantee you the Oakland Soul players probably thought, hey, as soon as we step on the field, this other team's going to fold, and not a chance. Did not happen at all. Same thing when we went up and played Cal Storm, our fourth game of the season. It was Cal Storm second. They had beat Pleasant in the previous game 8-1. And their social media actually was spouting off the morning of the game. Oh, hey, is this going to be another 8-1 or 8-0 score like it was last time? They barely eked out a 2-1 win. And to be perfectly honest, we probably should have won that game. There was two goals that were extremely, extremely close, missed by inches, and literally probably a combination of 6 inches on both. But that was another game where we took it to them. We absolutely took it to them. And, one thing I wanted this team to instill is the fact that any team we play, they better bring a sack lunch because it's going to be an all day affair. And even in our losses, there was not a single loss where we were just absolutely ran off the field. Every time we lost, we hung in there until the very end, and they were all very close contests. And it's something I am extremely proud of. My GM Adrian Sorensen, my co-head coaches Anahi Duran and Sia Manuela, um, they did a fantastic job taking a group of women who never played with each other and really molding them into a singular unit that had a winning record, one of the best teams in our division. And the Western Division was probably the toughest division in the entire league. I'm going to go on a limb and say you take our team and put it in any other division, we probably do make the playoffs.
That's fantastic. So, gritty, never back down, very blue collar, hardworking, just get after it, representing our city, our team, that mentality.
Yeah, and
Y-
if when we did our intro video, when we announced our team name, we paid homage to a couple of movies that were shot in Stockton, Cool Hand Luke and Fat City, both of which gritty, blue collar, hardworking, just, we're not talking Beverly Hills Cop here.
mhm.
We are talking like very, movies that fit where they were shot. And movies that kind of define Stockton, and we used those two exactly to help shape this is what our team is all about.
So, when you're a new startup, you don't have a lot of marketing budget. You really have to use social media. And the big tool that you use, and this is an enormous takeaway, is how you used video content to really get the message out about who you are, what you represent, and what fans can experience when they come to your game. So, talk about kind of focusing on video creation as a main communication tool.
We in doing video communications, it's when we focused on the players, we wanted to show how skilled they were and the fact that they were having fun. If you'll took a look at a couple of our videos, they have our goal celebrations, which I mean, I'm a little biased, but I think we have the most fantastic goal celebrations in the entire league. But I'm just a little biased. But it really showed, the skill, the hard work, the determination, the grittiness of our players. And the fact that they were out there doing a great job, getting the job done, and having fun while they were doing it. We wanted to profile a team that you wanted to root for and you wanted to follow. At the same time, especially at the very beginning, along with me being a little bit of a loudmouth, and someone who is not exactly lacking in the confidence department. I also, Jeremy, as you know, I like to be a little silly and goofy. And if you
Mhm.
go back and look at a couple of our, we had a partnership with grocery outlet Bargain Market, um, and we would do a ticket giveaway there, and we always did it by video. And the first few that I did, I mean, they were
Mhm.
super duper goofy. One, I'm drinking an entire gallon of chocolate milk, or half gallon. It was a half gallon of chocolate milk, just guzzling that
Mhm.
thing down. The other one, I was eating a banana. And there was another one where people were left wondering exactly who I was buying a bunch of flowers for. Um, so, so it's like I said, when we're focusing on our players, it was really showcasing and highlighting how talented these women are. Um,
Mhm.
and which is something a lot of people when they think of women's sports, they don't automatically think that wow, these women are like super duper talented and doing something I can't do. Um, and that's something we really wanted to highlight, that these women are talented, that they are among the best of the best at what they do, and they deserve your support. And at the same time, me being just a little silly and irreverent. One thing that did happen, and I will credit my GM Adrian Sorensen for this, is once the season started, I stopped being the story and I went more to just being the guy in the stands, being
Mhm.
unhappy at the refs, to the players being the story, and I that was very important. This was not people did not come and buy tickets to see the owner. They came and bought tickets to see the team. And that is something her GM. I mean, come on, Jeremy, you know me. I love a camera. But and that's something our GM really stressed to me. And throughout the course of the season, it really, her take of we're going to focus on our players and the women that people are coming out to see, that really proved golden.
Hmm.
It really, highlighted our players, made them recognizable in the community, and made them likable, and made people want to come out and watch them.
Yeah, as I look through some of your videos, I'm just on Instagram. Some have 10,000 views, some have 6,000, 3,000. So you've got a bunch of different views, and it's all about the athletes that you have on your
Yeah.
team. But you watch these videos for an organization like yours that just doesn't have that budget to be able to pay for videographers and some of these things. You were able to find some help to be able to put together some really great looking, authentic videos. Where did you find the people? What were the questions that you asked them to be able to
I'm
kind of get some help here?
I am big on relationships and
Hmm.
taking advantage of those relationships. Our GM, Adrienne Sorensen, she is the head coach for Delta Women's Soccer. And their video guys, a guy named Mark Stevie, um, fantastic, absolutely fantastic. And because of the existing relationship with he and Delta Women's Soccer, and Adrian did it for us at basically at wholesale rates,
Mm.
which made it very affordable to get these done. And also, like I said, it's using this as a relationship. He's also able to use our videos and use them to market to other people to do videos. So it's really, and that goes into all the earned media we got. I mean, look,
Hmm.
I am, a lot of people would ask, how did we get so much earned media? I'm going to go on a limb and say we probably got more earned media than any other team in our division, possibly any other team in the league. I mean, you turn around and we were on Good Day Sacramento. We were on KCRA3. We were in San Joaquin Magazine. We had a weekly spot on KWin, the KWin Morning Show, which our players play once again. Once the season started, it was our players being on that weekly spot on the KWin Morning Show, and it was, for me, it was leveraging the relationships we already had, or I already had, with all these TV stations, because once again, my day job, political consultant, I make a ton of TV buys. So yes, I was at a
Hmm.
little bit of an unfair advantage in regards to getting people on TV, because I'm dealing with people I already have a pre-existing relationship with on my day job. And so it's very easy to pitch them. They also know that if it was me going to be on TV, they know I'm good for a good notable quotable or two during any interview, and they love those. So, but it was myself, Alan Sanchez, who also helped us out. Him and he and his contacts. He's the one that worked to get us on Good Day Sacramento when they came out for an entire morning, and we ran Cody through some drills and whatnot. But Alan also really had a ton of those contacts that he leveraged his existing relationships. So, for any other sports organization out there, as far as getting on TV, obviously it would help if your owner, bought millions of dollars worth of TV ad buys every 2 years from KCRA3. But aside from that, it is really making those relationships and then leveraging those relationships. Look, these people are always looking for content. Especially morning shows. If you'll notice, most of our earned media was during morning show segment time. They are always looking for good content. Our jersey reveal was on KCRA3. I mean, we had 5 minutes in the 7 o'clock hour of KCRA3. That's worth, that's worth five figures easy. But they wanted content. We're like, hey, we'll reveal our jersey on your guys's, morning show. And they're like, sign us up. Yes, we love content like that. They love interesting content. So if you're able to provide them with interesting content, um, you know, especially TV morning shows, they will eat that up.
Yeah, I had Alan Sanchez from the People's Media Relations Group on a podcast episode earlier, and I'll put a link in the show notes that talks about this formula that you alluded to there, pitching to TV stations with something that would be beneficial for them, and it's not all about you. It
Yeah,
serves their needs, serves the community, and what have you. But there's a formula that Alan knows and you know pretty well. But when you pitch TV stations to get some free TV coverage, there's a process, right?
very much you scratch my back, I scratch yours.
Yeah.
That is the key in when you're leveraging those relationships. And I will give a perfect example. In my other realm, there was someone, I will not name names, who wanted, just continually is asking for favors. Lee, I need this. Lee, I need that from your client, your client, your client, your client. And finally, there was an ask that went a bridge too far. And I had to say, no, I'm not going to, I'm not going to put my client in that position. It was to do this event. And I said, no, no. And there was no leverage. It's not like, well, you have done this for me in the past. You've helped me out this way in the past. So I kind of feel obligated to help you out now. It was always like, take, 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 and there was never anything in it for me or my clients. And finally it was like, what am I going to gain? You're going to gain from this, but my client's not going to gain anything. I'm not going to gain anything. Why are we going to do it? And when I say gain, I'm not talking about money wise. That's, no, I just, intrinsically, is there more PR for my clients? Is there, better community involvement for my clients in doing this? And the answer is no. It's going to help you out. It's going to help you, the person who asks me for something like every other time you see me in person, but it's not going to help my client out at all. There's no return on investment. So when you are pitching, it really has to be, well, yeah, we're going to do this and we're going to get on TV and our brand is going to get out there, but here's why it's going to be good for you also.
So recap a few things here. Low budget, high lever opportunities for you. Video creation, pumping out a ton of video content, highlighting your team, what you stand for, what fans can expect, creating kind of a process of creating video content and using your relationships to find people that can help pump out some really good looking video content. And then going to TV stations and pitching them on content that might be beneficial for them as well. Taking your relationships to the side, pitching them on things, on stories that would be beneficial for their audience that they would be fired up about. So far, so good?
So far, so good.
All right, and then the next one here, which was absolutely amazing that you and your team were able to do this, and this is huge for startup teams, is community involvement. You're a huge advocate of being active in your community, and I'm not just talking going to Rotary clubs and some of these other ones speaking. You are doing a ton of stuff with your team. What was the process? What was the communication like? Walk me through kind of the philosophy of just being as active as possible in the community.
So, we really wanted to get our name out there and do things that gave, either created spaces for the community or gave back to the community. And one is, and also there are going to be events that you can use to leverage that community involvement. And perfect example is going to be last year's Men's World Cup. We had watch parties for England, the USA England match. We had watch parties for the World Cup final. Women's World Cup. We had watch parties for the first two women's matches. And especially the USA England one, which fell on Black Friday, was one of those. First of all, it was a massive game. I mean, it's the US versus England. Everyone's going to be tuned in. It actually set a record for the most watched, at the time, most watched soccer match in the United States. Um, And we were able to
Wow.
leverage that along with the fact that since it was such a large cultural happening, once again, there are news organizations looking to cover it. And we sold out Michael's New York Pizza, which, Jeremy, you've been there. It's not exactly the smallest venue to
Yep.
sell out. And we had that place packed. We had News 10 there. News 10, we were the only place, um, only public watch party that they went to and they reported on. And it was fantastic. And that really set us off as far as having that community relation aspect. People were like, wow, this is amazing. These guys are hosting this. It wasn't, come watch and buy your own pizza. We purchased the pizza, purchased the soda drinks, all that fun stuff. It was a place for soccer fans in Stockton to come and watch this game with other like-minded people while also getting our name out there as the hosts. Same thing for the World Cup final. World Cup final was probably the greatest soccer match I've ever seen in person, or not in person, but live on TV.
Hmm.
And 7 in the morning, but still we had a great crowd of people who were on hand. And kudos to Gina Calder at Ed Michael's New York Pizza, who on a Sunday opened the store up for us early for us to be in there and be able to watch the game, drive in revenue to her because once again we were buying the breakfast pizzas, but drove in revenue to her while still creating a place for soccer fans to congregate, giving back to our community, creating this space, and also once again getting our name out there. And also, there are obviously the Rotary Club visits and whatnot, but other things. We, in conjunction with El Concilio, hosted a free soccer clinic on May 30th in the middle of our season. It was reserved for the first 30 kids, I believe, but they came out totally free. They got T-shirts. It really great connector with the community. We had a booth at National Night Out where you can come in, kick the soccer ball through the little goal and the little hole targets. And also, like I said, when Women's World Cup came around, we were there for the first two women's matches, and then also the women's World Cup match. And I think you might have seen video of me attempting to toss scarves out into the out of the fans. But that one also was super packed. It was a great crowd. Once again, for that one, we once again sold out Michael's New York Pizza. Place was packed. People were having fun, had a great time. We are members of the Chamber of Commerce. They had a ribbon cutting for us at Michael's New York Pizza that was also carried on local TV. And that we had that one on a Wednesday. I mean, nothing ever happens around here on a Wednesday. So once again, that is an example of here you have TV stations needing content, and Stockton is, let's face it, anytime Stockton's in the news, it's not for good reasons. And so TV stations love it when you can provide positive content for for Stockton. They absolutely eat that up. And so, we played into that and said, hey, we're having a ribbon cutting. All these people are going to be here. Our entire team is going to be here. And once again, News 10 and KCRA 3 went ahead and covered it for us. And once again, got us more free earned media. So that's, getting out into the community, being that involved in the community. We participated in Stockton's Rotary Read-In, which is something where myself and some other team members bought a book, went and read to I read to a third grade class, but grades 1 through 3, read to them. We were giving stickers out to them, handed them the book. It's really just finding ways to get brand awareness out there while also positively contributing back to our community.
Yep. And oftentimes these community relations, community events are always trying to be active. You're going to schools and you're putting on clinics and you're having fun. So you're giving back. You're constantly doing something, and it's more about the impact with the organization and spread the excitement, the mission of what you're trying to accomplish. So such great takeaways. I think the El Concilio, a Hispanic, Spanish-speaking media outlet, leveraging their audience to help you get people to sign up for this free clinic. That's another great hidden gem here in the conversation as far as how are we going to be able to do this when you just simply don't have the budget to be able to do it. You allocated your budget to providing all of these resources for your athletes, but you got to figure out how we're going to get people to the game. So working your tail off to build up some relationships with the TV stations, pitching them, going to local restaurants like Michael's to be able to have, hey, let's do a watch party. I'll help promote it. We'll get a lot of people here, and it just builds a very rabid fan base. And no wonder you sold out 5 out of 6 games a year, because you're hitting all the buttons, you're clicking all the right things. So I'm just excited for the future. And I guess that's the next question. So you're playing at Delta College, beautiful facility to play, not a ton of amenities. You got a great team. You sold out a bunch. You got a lot of momentum here. What's next?
What's next is making the playoffs. I mean, it's, look, it's going to be a tough act to follow. We had, really successful first year, but there are things that we definitely can improve on. And you need to, especially in team sports and in a league atmosphere, you need to be able to level up, because everyone else is going to level up. So just to stay
Mm-hmm.
where you're at, you still need to level up. Obviously, the fan experience is something I think we want to build on. Having more merchandise available, we were a bit handcuffed in that aspect this year, and we are talking to a couple different uniform suppliers to kind of help on that, help in that area. But really, just at least on my end, it's giving my general manager and our co-head coaches more better resources to be able to do their job easier. I mean, they did an almost impossible job this year, with definitely not as many resources as basically every other team in our league. We're the only startup that came from scratch. Every other team in our league already had an established youth pro organization, already had established women's teams. They were plug and play. We were building
Mm-hmm.
the car from the bottom up. And so making sure they have the resources to continue to improve and succeed, and also giving the fan experience, and that'll anywhere from more food trucks to more giveaways at games and halftime and whatnot. But really improving that halftime experience. And I do have to give a shout out. A lot of times, especially in the minor league realm, a lot of teams are kind of left to their own devices, and very minimal input from the league. And the USL League office has been fantastic, from our league president, Amanda Vandervoort, all the way on down. Every time I have a question or an email, because let's face it, I am not the soccer expert here. I'm the guy who had a
Uh-huh.
crazy dream. I'm far from the soccer expert. Anytime I had a question, they were on top of it, and they were extremely helpful. And we could not have been successful this year without assistance from the league. And like I said, from Amanda Vandervoort all the way on down, Lisa Padden in communications, Amy Ramaras with operations, they were just absolutely fantastic. And I really honestly could not ask for a better league office to deal with. They really are a blessing, and I'm excited. USL Super League, which is going to be a women's Division 1 level league, starts in August of 2024. That'll create, and it's that one is following the international calendar. So they start in August, end in May, and that is really going to create a pathway. Because look, would I love to have all my players back every year? Absolutely. That would be me being selfish. There are a couple players in the team this year. I literally told them, I do not want to see you back next year, because you guys need to be playing professionally. I don't want to see you guys back here. I want you guys to evolve and move up. And with the creation of USL Super League, it's really going to create that pathway. You ball out and show out and do really well in W League. You're able to immediately be picked up by a Super League team and start on your professional journey. So I'm really looking forward and excited to helping create, motivate, and advance players from Stockton Cargo to go play in Oakland Super League team, or Spokane Super League team, or Tampa's, or Carolina's, or Lexington. Take your pick. So that's something that I am really looking forward to, seeing our players progress up that professional ladder.
So players progressing, getting signed to professional deals, and in enhancing the fan experience. I think you did a lot of right things the first year, and leveling up and continuing to layer it on. It's just going to make your life a whole lot easier. And next year, selling at all 6 games, I think that's not far fetched.
I that would make me a happy president slash CEO.
Fantastic. Well, Lee, appreciate your time. Appreciate you providing so many great nuggets on how organizations, specifically United Soccer League teams, here's the roadmap to be able to get people to come out to your games and support your team and build an authentic relationship with your fans. And you do it through video creation, being active in the community, working with your local media, and leveraging other people's audiences. It's just a simple roadmap, and if every team did this, every team would be successful. So kudos to you to knowing what buttons to push, and most importantly, bringing soccer to a community that absolutely deserves it.
Absolutely, Stockton is it's a great city, got great people, and it is my goal to someday bring them a championship.
That is a nice way. I hit stop after you said championships. That is a nice way to end it. So good stuff, man. We'll appreciate you.